Hi, I'm Tim Moen, leader of the Libertarian Party of Canada, and this message is to all the PPC candidates. I just want to say a big shout out to you, big thank you to you. I really admire what you guys have done over this short year, all the work you put in, all the sacrifices you've made. You know, I heard of one PPC candidate selling his business and closing up shop and dedicating all his time and effort and money to run for the People's Party of Canada, to represent them in his riding. And that's something I can relate to. I quit my job, I killed my career at the top of my profession. I was a battalion chief, and I cashed in my retirement fund. I sentenced myself basically to work till I'm dead, which is fine. But I did that knowing that I wasn't gonna win the election or win a seat. I made those sacrifices, and you guys did too. And I know it must feel disappointing when you look at the vote count and you see that you maybe only got 2 or 3%. And that was certainly my experience the first time I ran for the Libertarian Party in 2014. You know, I put so much time, effort, money, work into running a campaign. My ideas were the best, and people knew that, and I could see that it was common sense and that people loved those ideas. And so part of me thought I might even have a chance to win, or at least get a very respectable vote count. And then in the end, I only got 2 or 3% of the vote myself, and it was very disappointing, and it made me disillusioned about the whole political system. And that's how it goes. You know, unfortunately, in democracy, people generally vote against their worst fear rather than vote in favor of their highest value or what they love. And you know, I saw this over and over again. In 2015, I had a lot of social conservatives going door to door for me. We had a big ground game in my riding, you know, they fundraised for me. They put up signs. They dropped off pamphlets. They went door to door. And at the end of the day, all these volunteers, all these people that supported me because they loved the Libertarian Party, they loved the libertarian ideas. You know, like Reagan said, libertarianism is the heart of conservatism. And so even though I had to explain to a lot of these social conservatives when they Googled me, that meme that I want gay married couples to be able to protect their marijuana plants with guns, they understood that a society that is free to sin, that is free to engage in vice, it actually becomes a more socially conservative society over time, because society isn't bailing you out or protecting you from your own mistakes. You're having to take responsibility, personal responsibility for them, and over time you make better decisions, and a lot of the problems we have with vice start to get better. They intuitively got that after a 5-minute conversation. But each one of these people who loved me and hated the Conservative candidate who they saw as a red Tory called me up at the last minute and said, "Tim, much as we love you and your message, we have to hold our nose and vote against Trudeau, and so we got to vote for the Conservative candidate we dislike." That's how politics goes. But here's the thing. Should we be discouraged by that? Should we throw in the towel and give up? No, because the thing I realized is that we are having positive unintended consequences. And you cannot underestimate the power that your voice is having by standing up with some courage. And even though your knees might knock a little bit and your voice might shake a little bit, you're standing on that stage and delivering a message you think is important. And that is more powerful than you can imagine. It's more powerful than getting votes and forming government, in my opinion. Government is downstream from culture. And you and I were engaged in shifting culture, and we always have been. You know, I can think of many examples where just one voice or one small group made big shifts and were able to do good things. In 2009, the province of Alberta was taking over ambulance services. That meant our community was going to lose control, and a few of us stood up and said no, and we were able to maintain some control of our ambulance services in Fort McMurray because a couple people stood up and fought back and put out and explained why this was going to be a bad idea. And they did that. We did that at risk of our jobs. Our employer was not happy with us. You know, the Libertarian Party of Canada has been unapologetically principled since its inception. There are more libertarians today than ever because of the work we're doing. When Stephen Harper resigned as leader of the Conservative Party, we flew Maxime Bernier to Western Canada to show him that he would have support if he threw his name in the ring. We connected him with libertarians and donors and fundraisers and influential people. And shortly after that, he stepped into the leadership race. And he almost won leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada because of all the libertarian support that he got. There's a thirst for libertarian ideas, and it's people like us, people in our party, that put those ideas out there, that popularize them. And while we may not get the votes, because people vote against their worst fear, we cause other parties to shift their policies, and we disrupt things. And so those libertarians were there supporting Max, not because of Max's political activity. They weren't there because he voted establishment, status quo conservative down the line through his whole career, voting to bomb Libya, voting to bail out corporations, voting against gay marriage, voting to ramp up the drug war, overseeing supply management. None of those things created more libertarians. The work that we did, the kind of work that you're doing, is what does that. And so we created a wave, and then we left it to the pragmatic politicians who are most worried about getting votes and support to gather that support and try to win seats with it. So we're having a huge effect on culture. I think that we're the only type of people that are actually having any positive effect on politics in Canada. It's the radicals, and you see this on the left. Elizabeth May standing on that stage, that debate stage, is pulling everyone to the left, isn't she? Even the Conservatives have to have a Green Party platform, a climate action platform, and that's because Elizabeth May is just forcing them to, with her radicalism, with her uncompromising approach. And that's our approach, uncompromising. And so we don't need to win seats, we need to win hearts and minds, and that's what you're doing, and that's what I appreciate so much. And I just want to say, if making personal sacrifices, if standing up and taking personal responsibility, if standing on stage and putting out unpopular ideas is your bag, and trying to popularize them and shift culture, well, we welcome you with open arms. We would love to have you work with the Libertarian Party of Canada. In 2015, we had over 180 individuals express interest in being a candidate. We had some back-end organizational issues at the time. We were just trying to figure out how politics works and how to get organized and how to organize across the country. So we ended up with 75 on the ballot, and our momentum was picking up. Of course, you guys at the PPC kind of put a damper on that, but I also see the PPC and this whole movement as part of what we created by having that uncompromising approach. So we got to keep the pedal to the metal, and I suspect that the PPC may be in some trouble. It's the party, and this is no disrespect, but the party's built around Maxime Bernier. But Maxime Bernier and two other people own the party. There's no real mechanism I could see to elect another leader, and so that your party's fate is in the hands of Maxime Bernier and him alone. Our party is not. I could leave the party tomorrow and the party will keep marching on, because this isn't about leaders. This isn't about a cult of personality or something like that. This is about personal responsibility, about individuals stepping up and standing up, and we need more individuals like you to do that. You can do that with us, and we welcome you with open arms. If things don't work out at the PPC, I would love to have you on board. And I saw a lot of you. You ran great campaigns, and I think I identified a few people that I think would make great leaders of the Libertarian Party if and when I step down. And so imagine that. You could be a leader of this party and leading a movement and having a lot of fun doing it. So I encourage you to come over and check us out. Check out our platform at libertarian.ca and consider joining us. I have a feeling libertarians are going to surge in the next election. Thanks, guys. Thanks again.